The Denver Broncos have added 2 former players to their coaching staff. What's up, guys? Welcome to Denver Broncos Syndicate, part of the Sports Syndicate family of channels where we are dedicated to bringing you content about our favorite sports teams. I am your host, Gage Madrid. Before we jump in, guys, if you could just do me a big favor and smash the like button on this video as well as subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it. Those are 2 free and easy ways that you can help show your support. It helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out to fellow members of Broncos country just like you and me. So with probably the biggest hole on their coaching staff filled yesterday with the hiring of Vance Joseph as their defensive coordinator, the Denver Broncos have now moved on to filling some other holes on their coaching staff. Along with the Vance Joseph move, several other coaching hirings were announced for the Denver Broncos yesterday, and those include 2 guys who played in the NFL just last season. First, it was announced on Twitter by Adam Schefter that the Broncos are hiring former Bills and Giants quarterback Davis Webb as their quarterbacks coach. Webb, 28, will now be working one-on-one with the 33-year-old Russell Wilson. However, Webb is someone who has a lot of respect in various NFL locker rooms and was already pretty much looked at as a coach on the field. He's someone who's cerebral, has good leadership skills, and very clearly has a future as a coach in the NFL. In fact, last season, Davis Webb nearly made the transition and signed with the Bills as their quarterbacks coach. Instead, the Bills went ahead and hired Joe Brady as their QB's coach, so Webb decided to play for one more year, and he followed Brian Daboll back over to the Giants where Webb was initially drafted, and Webb served as their third-string quarterback last season behind Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor, and he actually did start their season finale against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Giants had already locked up their playoff seeding, so they decided to sit Jones and Taylor and opted to let Davis Webb get that start in what ended up being the final game of his career. Webb has made it very clear, though, that he's intended all along to immediately transition to coaching once his playing days were over. This now allows him to do that, and it's going to be interesting to see the relationship that he forms with Russell Wilson. In my opinion, this hire also tells me that Brett Rypien is going to play for one more season. I thought that there was a chance that the Broncos would hire him as their quarterbacks coach, and he could make a similar trajectory up the ranks as Kellen Moore did. Ironically enough, another former Boise State quarterback, but Brett Rypien seems like he's going to want to play this season, and although he is set to be a free agent, I wouldn't be surprised if the Broncos brought him back, if not to be their third-string practice squad quarterback, because Brett Rypien is a very valuable sounding board and a very valuable resource to have in the QB room. He's essentially a quarterback's coach already in that room, much like Davis Webb was last season for the Giants. It was also announced that the Denver Broncos are hiring 10-year veteran safety Chris Banjo, who's been a special teams ace across his NFL career, to be their assistant special teams coach. The 32-year-old Banjo actually played under Sean Payton in New Orleans from 2016 to 2018, and after that he played under Vance Joseph in Arizona for the final 4 years of his career. Again though, Banjo's calling card has mostly been special teams, and over the course of his career he's racked up 143 total special teams tackles. Much like Davis Webb, Chris Banjo was a guy who was pretty much always destined to move into the coaching ranks after his playing days were over. Banjo was released by the Cardinals earlier today, so he has now officially decided to make the transition to his coaching career, and he follows a couple of his old coaches over to Denver, so a pretty good spot for him to start his coaching career. In other coaching news, it was announced that the Broncos have hired former Washington Commanders defensive coordinator Greg Manusky as their inside linebackers coach. Manusky's got 12 years of defensive coordinator experience across 4 teams, and now he will work directly with the Broncos inside linebacker group that was quietly one of their better performing units last season. It was also announced that the Denver Broncos have brought in former Chargers offensive coordinator and former Saints quarterback coach Joe Lombardi on their staff, although it has not been disclosed what role he will fill. He is apparently still in the running for the Broncos offensive coordinator position though. And yes, Joe Lombardi is indeed the grandson of legendary Green Bay Packers head coach Vince Lombardi, so that's pretty cool. Overall, the Broncos coaching staff is indeed starting to take shape, and I really feel like they've gotten some good hires there. Sean Payton has clearly prioritized experience throughout this whole thing, be it experience on the football field as a coach or as a player in some cases. With the hirings of Davis Webb and Chris Banjo, Sean now has 3 ex-players on his staff after hiring former Saints offensive lineman Zach Strief as the Broncos offensive line coach. It's pretty clear that Sean Payton especially wanted experience at defensive coordinator, as every candidate that he seriously considered, Vance Joseph, Rex Ryan, and Matt Patricia, have all been head coaches in the NFL previously. I'm curious, Broncos country, how do you feel about these hires, and what are your thoughts overall on the staff that Sean Payton is building? Drop those comments down below. I would love to hear from you. Be sure to leave a like on this video, as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. And while you're at it, be sure to follow me on Twitter at Gage Madrid NFL for continuing Broncos coverage. And for now, this has been another episode of Denver Broncos Syndicate. I am your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.